Hi everyone. Happy 2018. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
All right, so Andrea was on our CBS 12 News at 9 talking about living your best life and how to start doing that. This is going to be a little bit of a therapy session, I think, for Eric Roby. Right,
Isn't
Eric?
it always?
Something might have come up in the break.
But, I mean, I think a good place to start with all this is, what is your best life? What does that mean?
Ooh, that's good.
Well, I'm going to say it's getting clear on what it is that you really want. It's who you are, what you want, and where that direction is for you.
It is living your best life, just being happy.
Yeah.
Like, when someone asks you, are you happy? Do you have to think about that? Or do you just instantly say yes? And if you have to think about it, then you might not be living your best life, right?
Well, and I think a lot of people have like check marks. Do I have the house? Do I have the car?
Right.
Do I have the status? Do I have this, and this?
Yeah.
And then once they get this, and this, and then they realize what else is on this list.
Yeah, that's where we get in our own way. And I would say what's so interesting is that I would say like 99% of the clients that we work with are in that position where they've ticked everything off their list. They're living these magnificent lives, but there's that one piece that's missing. So what we work with our clients on is being authentic. Like, how can we be more authentic in our lives? How can we really get clear on who we are, what we want, and what makes us tick? Because the answer is different for everybody.
Everyone.
There's no, we're not like on a soapbox, here are the ingredients. That's just not the way it works, because we're all
Unfortunately.
individual.
Yeah, and it changes from, when you were in your 20s, what you wanted may be a lot different than in your 40s. I mean, I know what I want in my 20s is a lot different than what I want now.
Yes. Yes.
So just really rechecking in with that and
Well,
figuring it out.
marijuana's legal now too.
Right. That is correct. Yeah.
Can't with this
Yeah.
guy.
I know. None of us can.
All right, so let's talk, because we kind of alluded to this in the segment, and we didn't allude to it. We talked about it, about fear and how so many people get in their own way. And, it's just about really taking that first step. Lee, how do you get people that are so paralyzed by the fear of failure or just the fear maybe even of success?
And the high expectations, I think, creates that fear. Like you said, the ticking off the boxes. People put so much high expectations. Like, in order to be happy, you said, to tick off these boxes. Well, a lot of people think that to be happy, you must be happy 24/7, never be down, never feel angry, never feel upset in any way. And that's just not possible. We are emotional beings. We feel all sorts of emotions. And that's where I think that people go wrong. I mean, there's a theory that depression, obviously I'm generalizing, but it tends to be those high expectations that creates this feeling of sadness and then eventually depression. So if we simplify, again that word, simplify our world, simplify our lives, first of all, that takes the pressure off. And then second of all, is being able to switch off in a way. And you say, how do you switch off, right? Well, we were talking about yoga and meditation. And a lot of times, again, people put so much pressure on this meditation. You got to sit and go hum and sit in an awkward position, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sit here for an hour. How long has it been? And it's been like 30 seconds.
Right.
So, but meditation can be anything, like we were saying about
It
yoga.
could be gardening.
It could
I
be
love the
gardening.
garden.
Roby meditates when he gardens.
Yeah, it's
He
true.
pulls
Right.
weeds.
It's true.
Or doing laundry, or doing
Or
dishes.
doing the dishes,
you
Right,
said.
When I juice in the morning, to me that's a meditative process, because I just clear my mind and I'm just with the vegetables and the juicer.
And when I'm
that's
drinking the
another-
juice after she's
Exactly.
You're meditating as you're drinking. You said something really profound to me once, Lee, about making changes in your life. And I think a lot of people are so paralyzed by fear because they think they need to go from 0 to 100% in one day.
Right.
Exactly.
But you had said the 4%. I think it was
Yes,
the 4%
yes,
rule.
yes,
Tell us about the 4% rule, because I really love that.
Yeah.
It's actually, and now I can't remember the name of the guy, but the book is called How to Be Superman. And what he studied was different athletes, different people in the top of their profession, and getting the results that most of us want in their area. And what they found was that the people that tried to go 100% tended to not get there, basically. What the athletes generally do is they focus on getting 4% better each day, each time, each
Year,
session, each
whatever.
year.
Yes.
And what happens is it's that compound interest. It gradually builds up. And the idea is that we underestimate what we can do in a long period of time, but we overestimate what we can do in a short period of time. And we're instant gratification people. So we want it and we want it now, right? You know, we go to yoga and the next day is, why am I not the yogi of the month, right?
Right.
Well, someone, you know,
It is the yogi of the month.
yeah. But it's true. We expect everything like this, and it's actually the incremental changes that create the difference in our life. Like we were talking about, Lee and I have a theme word for the year, and our word this year is simplicity. So how can we simplify our lives? And then what we did was we sort of built subcategories for happiness, health, and wealth. You know, how do we see our happiness? How do we see our health? How do we see our finances? You know, and we created just words that remind us of how we want to feel as though we were at the top of our happiness game, we were at the top of our health game, and we were at the top of our wealth game. So it's in the being. It's already being that person. It's being the goal. It's not waiting for that to happen and then I'm going to feel good. But it's how would I feel if I was in, for me, what I consider the best health? How would I feel if I was, for me, happy all the time, as best I can? How would I feel if I was truly abundant, if I had, you know, my goals, for my financial goals were already there? How would I feel? So, again, we talk so much about allowing yourself to be the goal instead of waiting for it to happen, and being patient with yourself. But you'll find that when you're already the goal, when you're already that great student, because we talked about that in our segment on TV.
You don't even realize it.
When you're
Right?
already that great student, you just show up as a great student and experience what a great student would experience. So it's instead of creating that separation between that will make me happy, I'll be that when, it's already being that person that has those things that you want.
Well, I don't want to go too long, but I think maybe some real life situations might help people if they're struggling with this. And I happen to be struggling with this.
Yes.
And that one of my goals for this year is to have more of an entrepreneurial spirit,
Yes.
which is something that I've always envied people have, because I
Yes.
see a lot of people that have it naturally and other people struggle with
Which
that.
is so funny because I feel like he already has that.
Yeah.
You know, he has that.
never see it
He
being
just
the
has.
same.
He's just afraid to
There-
take the action to do anything
And I know
about
where
it
it comes from, because when I was growing up, my father lived in West Virginia. He worked in the coal mines. He lost his job, and there was a recession and no economy in West Virginia. So he couldn't find work for 2-3 years, and we lost our house.
Yeah.
And my mom had to have 3 jobs.
Right.
So, like for me, I feel like I always have to take the safest option.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want.
Correct. So there's a tug.
There is very much a tug.
Right.
So I think I suffer from that fear of trying to do a side hustle to try and better myself because I have this fear.
Right.
Right. And you've heard of the Autobahn.
Yeah.
And on the Autobahn, every quarter of a mile, there are like, I get this, I say telegraph poles. That's so old-fashioned, isn't it? There isn't even telegraphs anymore. But you know what I mean, those
Yes.
poles, right?
Yeah.
Every quarter of a mile. And it's amazing that they have the cameras on the Autobahn. The amount of cars that whenever there's a crash, they seem to hit that telephone pole. And the reason is that when we're in a sort of fear mode, we look for what we don't want. We look for where we don't want to go. Now, that car could have landed anywhere and would have been okay. But when we focus on what we don't want, we aim ourselves toward, and then the car hits that pole. And we do this every day of our lives a lot of the time. We focus on that, like Andy said, the flashlight on the screen. We're looking directly at, well, you know, this happened to my dad. You know, my mom had to work 3 jobs. I have to do this. I got to do this because this is the way it is. And when we step back, we do what we love, like yoga, like, you know, gardening, and just take that time then we can start making the right moves. Because if we make the moves looking in this direction, we're only going to have a very minute answer. But when we take our way back, like when we're in the shower, you know, always the most amazing results come in the shower. Right?
We have great ideas in the shower.
Yeah, and that's because we're going from, without going into detail, the sympathetics or the fight or flight. The fight or flight is, oh my gosh, I don't want that, I don't want that. When we go back and go into yoga, shower, you know, meditation, whatever you choose, we take ourselves back into the relaxing mode. And that opens up all our filing cabinets. So then we can start, now we're looking at the whole room.
Picture.
Instead of just this, which is scaring the life out of us.
But that doesn't pay the bills.
Well, here's the thing.
But it will.
A successful entrepreneur would say otherwise.
Right.
Because a successful entrepreneur will step back and think about the situation, but in a positive, when I say positive, I'm almost thinking about no thinking.
Well, from a space of a clear
It's a
head.
clear mind, a
Space
clear
of
head.
clarity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, because what's happening, if you're so focused on I don't want that to happen, what we focus on grows.
That's what's going to happen.
So we're creating
Right.
more of that. So again, it is shifting your focus to what's possible. And I love what you said about accessing the filing cabinets. We cannot access the filing cabinets if we're so focused in one certain area. It's impossible to do that. But when we step back and almost create a separation as the observer rather than completely being in it, we give ourselves an opportunity to see what's possible. See, possibilities are all around us. It's like how I met Suzanne, right? If I was very closed-minded, I wouldn't have even stopped to talk to Carrie.
Yeah.
But I was feeling open and happy and excited, and it was just, I allowed that to be an amazing day.
It was a chance meeting that we met each other.
It was a chance meeting.
Right.
And it was like once we met each other, it's like, oh, hi, I've known you forever.
Right.
Yes, you know. And that's being open to possibilities. If I'm so focused on what I don't want, I'll keep creating what I don't want.
And you'll close yourself off to those possibilities.
Yeah, but I love what, for me, it resonates so much about opening up the filing cabinets. You have to give yourself the opportunity to see what's available because, again,
Well, I mean, like, mentally I can get that.
Yes.
But working that daily, like, I have to remind myself daily.
Well, and
of
I
that.
think
so
that's the
how do you do that?
That's the point. The yoga,
Yeah.
the meditation,
That's
the
it.
slowing down, the simplifying your life. It gives you that space. I mean, and whatever it is for you, it might not be yoga. For me, it's yoga. I think for you, it's yoga. I mean, it's different for everyone. But whatever that thing is, do more of it because then that will start to show you the opportunities. At least that's what I found in my life.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
journaling. I mean, writing stuff down, just journaling in the morning, that really helps me kind of clear my mind and really open to what I want and what I'm intending to do for my day.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff works
yeah.
too.
And
I just got it
depending
for
on
Christmas. I got a book that says, my journal's better than yours.
Oh my God. Of course you got that journal.
But you know what, Eric? Just one thing that I want to leave you with is you have a belief because of your
Past.
experience in your past. But a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. That's all it really is. There's really no truth to it. It's not that you didn't experience
I'm not a coal miner.
that.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You're not a coal miner.
It's
And you're not
just a
living in West
thought
Virginia.
that you keep thinking.
Right.
And I love what Suzanne said. When you do more of what feels good, there's less room for that belief to creep in. But when the belief creeps in, you know, you can take a step back from it as the observer and observe yourself having that thought instead of being in it and just say, oh, there's that silly thought again. And allow it to be there. You know, we're not pretending the thought's not there. But
And
you're
not try and
creating a
change it.
separation.
Yeah. Not trying to change it. I think that's where people go wrong. They think,
Right.
okay, I've got to change that belief.
Don't change it.
All you're doing is putting yourself into more stress.
Right.
So the idea is just step back. You just step back from it because it's just a belief. It's just a thought that we keep thinking and it will go by.
Yeah, and what will
Albeit-
happen is it won't trigger you as much when you start practicing just that separation of, oh, there's that belief again. You know, because I love what you said. Do more of what feels good. Do more of the gardening, the yoga, the meditation, whatever feels good. And when the thoughts come in, you can have that little bit of separation. You don't have to be in it.
You don't have to drown in the crazy thoughts.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think that's good, right?
That's enough.
Gentlemen, you have to go. Yeah, that's enough therapy session for Eric
How you
Roby.
doing, Debbie?
I'm doing
If you
fine.
would like your own therapy session, you can contact Andrea and Lee at Spread Happy, and she does segments every Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah, it's
depending on the
usually
day.
Mondays.
It's usually
Whenever she
Mondays.
shows up.
It's Mondays.
Of course, leave a comment. They will respond to you. And they do
Absolutely.
Facebook Lives on their page as well, so you can get more information there.
We do.
Thank you all for watching,
Thank
and we'll see you back here next time.
Yay.
Be
See you next
happy.
week.
Happy 2018.